is up, boys and girls, children of all ages? Chris back again. Man, I hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am, because I'm fixing to get to talk to you guys about two things that I love. Not just one, but two things. Two great tastes that taste great together. Pro wrestling and movies. Today, we're going to be talking about the American Dream, the Dusty Rhodes story, baby. It was from 2006. You know what? They don't even have a director on this thing, because I'm sure it was a WWE production, so we'll just say Vince McMahon or Paul Levesque directed this. Guys, this was a solid documentary. I'm a big fan of Dusty Rhodes. I'm a big fan of old school, like mid-70s to late 90s wrestling, right? So like a 20-year span of wrestling, I'm a big fan of. I wasn't alive in the 70s, but I sure as heck enjoyed the Attitude Era with all my contemporaries out there, you know what I mean? I love some beer drinking, some hell raising Stone Cold. I love some Rudy Poo, candy ass beating rock. You know what I mean? I loved pro wrestling back in the day. Still do love pro wrestling. Watch it anytime it's on. Watch it, you know. Pay-per-views, anything I can find wrestling-wise, I'll watch. And so when I saw that the American Dream, the Dusty Rhodes story, was on Peacock, I said, yep, I got something to watch. And man, was I not disappointed. This was a great documentary because not only do we have, Dusty Rhodes himself talking about, coming up and tag teaming with Dirty Dick Murdoch. We got, his rivalries with Flair and the Four Horsemen, his friendships with Magnum TA and, other wrestling celebrities back then, Sam Houston, all those kind of guys. Like, those were the days when wrestling was pure and it wasn't cartooned up and looked stupid. You know what I mean? So just hearing him tell the stories about coming up and how he's the son of a plumber. He's an everyman. He's a blue collar, that's what he comes from. And he even says in the documentary, he's like coming up on Friday nights, my dad would get off work. He'd come pick me up from school. We'd go get us some chicken fried steak and sweet tea, go cash his check, and off to the wrestling matches we would go. And so he was really involved in wrestling from a very early age. Even though he wasn't performing, he went to the matches. He saw the stars. He saw the events and the crowd and the noise and all that stuff, and it drew him in, right? And so he went to school, he went to college, had a football scholarship. He got called up. He went to a wrestling show. He got paid $700 for the wrestling show, and then I think a professional football team called him the next day and was like, "Hey, you want to come to camp?" And he's like, "Nah, I'm done playing football." And so then he went on to be a wrestler, and he traveled all over the place, all over the world. He's got two great kids, Dustin Rhodes and Cody Rhodes. Dustin Rhodes, you guys might know him as Gold Dust, right? That's Dustin Rhodes. And then we got Cody Rhodes, the man of the hour right now in wrestling, the man who's the WWE champion, undisputed champion. We got him, one of Dusty Rhodes' kids. That's kind of his claim to fame. Well, before he became the champion, was, my father's Dusty Rhodes. So, and then Dusty Rhodes tells you how he got his ring name. He said his dad was a big baseball fan, and there was a pitcher that was something, and then his pitcher name was Dusty and then Rhodes. And so Dusty Rhodes took the name of that pitcher, because his father liked it, I guess. And man, it was just a really good documentary that told so much information that I didn't really know about Dusty Rhodes. There's things in there that I heard that I was like, oh man, for instance, I never knew that he started off tag teaming with Dick Murdoch, and they were raising hell and going all over Texas and the South. And finally, it just got to the point where they were basically the same guy doing the same things. And Dusty didn't want to be in a tag team anymore. He wanted to break out, be a singles competitor. Also, he was kind of getting burned out on the women, whiskey, and wine. You know what I mean? And so it was fascinating hearing those stories and hearing those things that Dusty used to do and hearing about him coming up, and then hearing his contemporaries, his peers talk about him and what a genius mind he had for the business, and what how he would set up matches and how he would bring in guys that he thought were talented and how he could see talent in other competitors and stuff. And it was just really, really cool to hear. I knew some of these things. I knew some of the things like how he had a genius mind for the business. I mean, you don't last for 40-something years in wrestling if you don't have a good mind for it. It's a pretty cutthroat industry. So if you can't hack it, out the door you go, you know what I mean? So I knew that Dusty had a great mind. I've heard many people say that, but it's interesting to hear the people that traveled with him, the people that went on the road with him, talk about how Dusty was one of the nicest guys ever. His first marriage failed because he just couldn't be at home because he was on top of his game. He was in his prime. He was traveling 350-something days a year. He didn't have time to come home, and that's what killed his first marriage. But people would say he loved his family. He loved both of his boys. His second wife, Michelle, a little spitfire, man. She put him in his place. It took a good woman, a good, strong woman to put Dusty in his place and make him say, hey, I got to straighten up, be here for my family, my kids and stuff. So, I mean, just seeing all these different facts and all these different tidbits about one of my favorite wrestlers, one of my wrestling heroes, Dusty Rhodes, was just, it really made my day. I can't even remember what day I watched it on, but I was in a good mood the rest of the day because I loved that documentary. I really did. I thought it was good. Maybe love is kind of a strong word. I mean, it wasn't like life-changing. It didn't like, oh my God, Dusty's the second coming of Christ or something. But it was good. It was an above-average documentary for sure. The only thing that I hated was it was made in 2006. I wish I had another, because, I mean, it's been, 15 years since the documentary was made or something? So we need a new one. Dusty, God rest his soul, he's gone. But we still got some of these guys that did interviews, like Tully Blanchard and Ric Flair. These people that could talk about Dusty still. Guys that were wrestling with him at the time that are still alive that could do another one. And then you could have Cody come in and talk about how his father influenced him in the business. And you can have Dustin come in. Because, I mean, Dustin and Dusty had a really, really tumultuous adult relationship. They didn't speak to each other for years. So just to hear, more stories about Dusty, a more recent documentary would be awesome. Have a little more archive footage in it. Because in this one, there wasn't a ton of archive footage. I mean, there was some, but it was mainly still photographs and stuff like that. There wasn't any, wrestling footage in it. There was some, but not a lot. And it just, I would like a more modern remake of this documentary. But what we got was phenomenal. I loved it. I definitely recommend you guys to check it out if you're wrestling fans. If you haven't seen this documentary, definitely go check it out. It's streaming on Peacock if you want to check it out. I'm going to give American Dream, the Dusty Rhodes story, 3.5 out of 5 stars because it was above average. And, guys, I loved it. And if you guys loved my reviews, please like and subscribe. You guys start some conversations in the comments section. And as always, my friends, I am going to keep making these bad boys as long as you guys keep watching them. God bless you. Peace out, and I'll see you soon.